What's going on, YouTube? It is your boy TruePan Gaming back at it again with another deck profile. Today I have a deck profile for the deck I actually got first place with at this weekend's Yu-Gi-Oh! Locals. And I literally only took it because my MathMech Sigmas and Edition hadn't come in the mail yet, and my Rika Snowdrop hadn't come in the mail yet. So I didn't really have anything else I wanted to play. And I buy and sell a lot of collections. And this pretty much all was in like one or two collections that I had purchased, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna play it. It's a locals, whatever. And I got first. The side deck really helps with the current format with Sprite and True Element, and I'll show you guys the side deck as well. But yeah, let's get into it. It is a Dinomorphia deck. So Dinomorphia wasn't that strong prior because a lot of the side deck space was being filled with back row hate and back row removal, which while Dinomorphia can deal with by just chaining their trap cards to like the Twin Twisters and stuff, it forces you to activate them at unoptimal times. But because everybody's side decking for Sprite and Challenge, they're committing 12 to 13 cards in their side deck for just that. Most people are keeping 1 to 2 back row removal spells in their side deck, so oftentimes they won't draw them if they side them in. And that's why this deck I think is so good right now, because you do play so many ways, even in the main deck, to outsprite into your element. And then in your side deck, because you play such a back row heavy deck, you can side so many cards in that it becomes very hard for those decks to play. And then rogue decks as well have a very hard time outing this strategy because of cards like Rexstrom and Kentragina and Stealthbergia. So let's get into the monster lineup. I just play 6. I play 3 Diplos, 3 Theresia. Diplos Foolish is a Dinomorphia card as well as Burning for 5k. And Theresia sets a Dinomorphia spell trap and gains 500. It's a permanent 500 buff, by the way. They both have also the second effect. If they're sent to the graveyard, you get to banish a Dinomorphia trap to special summon level 4 from your graveyard. Level 4 Dinomorphia, so just one or the other. And that's actually it for our monster lineup. It's just the 6 because you're mostly using these for fusion targets. I wish there was another good Dinomorphia monster because I would definitely play that, because you tend in the grind game to run out of these monsters really, really quickly. And while they can recycle themselves, you like them to be in the deck for your fusion traps as much as possible. So for our going second cards, and then I'll get to the spells and the traps, I'm going to cover the going second cards now. I play 2 Ghost Mourner and Moonlit Chill, 3 Effect Veiler, 1 Called By, and 3 Infinite Impermanence. I chose Moonlit Chill. Everything else was like pretty standard here. I chose Moonlit Chill over Ash because right now I don't think Ash is that good. Um, and Ogre also just doesn't feel that good right now. And so there wasn't really anything I wanted to play, but I like wanted to keep my hand trap lineup relatively the same, the 9 to 13 cards. And so I wanted to go for Moonlit Shell. And this card came up literally like one game, but it was so clutch the game it did come up. Because Dinomorphia, if your opponent has a lot of responses to your plays, can be very hard to close out the game. However, if they don't, you just blow them out of the water. But this card is basically Effect Veiler, but it burns your opponent if they leave the field. So there's a few times I was like playing against Punk, and I would like Moonlit Chill like the Chaos Ruler, and then like, cool, you can continue with your combo. Like, I'm negating its effects, but you can continue with your combo and like link into Hulk if you want. But if you do, you're gonna burn for 3k. Like, it is very, very good. Um, I ended up siding it out a lot, but I would always side it into game back in when if we went into a game 3 because of the time rules. So Moonlit Chill's like pretty good. And then for the spells, I literally just play 2 spells. I play 1 Fossil Dig and 3 Pot of Duality. Duality's good because you're actually not special summoning on your turn very often. Usually you do to close out the game, you like summon another Kentragina as follow up or something. Um, and Fossil Dig because it's an extra copy of both Diplos and Theresia, because you always want to open one of them. And Fossil Dig is just that extra copy. If you didn't want to play Moonlit Chill, just play 2 more Fossil Dig. I like the 1 just because like honestly you don't need it that much. And Duality, I think, is just the best pot for this deck. On to the traps. It is a lot of traps. It's a 40 card deck, and the majority of it is traps. So we played 2 Ferret Flames, 3 Summon Limit, 3 Judgment, 3 Strike, 1 Dinomorphia Brute, 1 Dinomorphia Alert, 2 Dinomorphia Sonic, 3 Dinomorphia Domain, and 3 Dinomorphia Frenzy. I'm going to cover the Dinomorphia cards, and then we'll cover these cards up here. So Frenzy lets you fusion summon during your opponent's main phase by sending monsters from your deck and one monster from your extra deck as fusion material. And then Domain lets you fusion summon during the main phase using monsters from your hand, deck, or field as materials. So standard combos, like you said, domain summons. Well, like if you have okay, so Diplos is like the best one to open because you go Diplos, send Frenzy from your deck to the graveyard, and then like you just hard draw Domain because you're talented or something, and then you set Domain, and then Domain, go to Kentragina, and then Kentragina banishes Frenzy, and that allows you to make Rexstrom. Obviously there's other ways, like you could just like set Frenzy, or you could do like vice versa. You know, you could like uh draw Frenzy, like pitch Domain, or you could like just draw one of them plus Theresia. So there's a lot of ways to get to that, but that's like the bread and butter there, because these two cards here. Dinomorphia Sonic is spell trap negation. Dinomorphia, it literally came up like one game, but it came up for like exactly lethal. You just pay half, special summon up to 2 Dinomorphias from your graveyard, its total level equal 8. But you can't special summon for the rest of the turn. So I used this on opponent's end phase, and like it was just game over. But yeah, you can get like Theresia and Diplos back to extend plays as well. And because Theresia will proc on your opponent's turn to set the card, you can then activate the card on your turn. So if you set like Domain, you can use Domain. Brute is actually like really good. If I could find space for one more Brute, I might play one more Brute. You destroy one Dinomorphia, you control one card your opponent controls. One card your opponent controls can be anything, as well as it does not target. So it's very, very good. And yeah, like I said, if you destroy these guys or if they get sent to the graveyard, you get to activate their effects too, special. So it's really good. So that's the Dinomorphia cards. And they all have a similar second effect. So the non count the regular traps can be banished from the graveyard on your opponent's turn to make sure no, you can banish it from your graveyard, and your opponent can't deal card effect damage to you. And then the counter traps have the effect where you can banish them from your graveyard, and you take no battle damage. Onto the generic traps. 3 strike because like it's strike. 3 judgment because it's judgment. These cards just say no to your opponent's plays. I typically would side these out. Like this package out or one of them. Usually it was strike. Judgment was too good. I sided like one judgment out sometimes, but these two are just so good in this deck. One summon limit because I feel like you have to main deck at least one floodgate, and summon limit was like generic enough to where it was between summon limit and rivalry. But I didn't want to do rivalry because literally no reason other than I just did not want to do main deck rivalry. I ended up citing rivalry in a lot, but I would never cut summon limit because summon limit plus rivalry is such a hard lock. Like it felt really good, but also rivalry is dead in a lot more matchups than summon limit's dead. Like summon limit's almost never dead. Um, Whereas rivalry, if I main deck it, can be dead in some matchups. I can't think of any off the top of my head this format. But like if I played against a rogue deck like Dinos or something, like Rivalry is just dead. Or like Zombie World. Um so Summon Limit I think just comes up more. And then 2 Fair Flames because this card's literally evenly matched, but for Dinomorphias. So it can be played from your hand, but if the combined attack of all face up monsters your opponent controls are higher than or equal to your life point, no, it's higher than your life points. Your opponent chooses monsters. I make my opponent shuffle monsters they control into the deck, their choice, so that the combined attack of the remaining monsters equals less than or equal to your life points. So there was a game I was down to 15 life points, and I activated this, and my opponent had a bunch of cards that I think I was playing against Dark Magician, so I think I couldn't target his monsters with card effects or something. But because of Fair Flames, they choose their cards, and it doesn't target. So they choose their cards. No, their cards are unaffected by my opponent's card effects, but because they choose, they still have to shuffle cards in. And I won that game on 15 life points, literally because this card's busted. I don't think it's a 3 of because it's only really good when you have like 100 or less life points. It's very, very good when you have 100 or less. Anytime after that, it's like okay, you know. But also it's sort of like contradicts with Rexstrom a little. Because if you use Rexstrom's effect to make your opponent's cards exactly your life points, you would have to. They would get to keep one monster. because they would get to keep something that's less than or equal to. So yeah, but Fair Flame's actually like really really good. Just be smart about when using it, and it will win games. So that's the main deck. Like I said, 40 cards. A lot of cards can be sided in or out. So we'll cover our extra deck and then the side deck. So for the extra deck, I play one Sprite Elf, one Psychic End Punisher, one Prime Mathmech, Berchion, Dolka, Lagia, Kit Kalos, 3 Rexstrom, 3 Kentragina, and 3 Stealth Bergia. So I'm only going to explain what the cards that actually we use do. Stealth Bergia, you don't pay life points to activate card effects. It's like okay, like if you have Strike Set, you make him because you can like strike for free. Kentragina has the passive effect that her attack is what your life points minus her attack. So she has 4,000 printed on her, but she won't be 4,000. But she also has the quick effect to banish a Dinomorphia trap from your graveyard to copy its effect. 3 Rexstrom. So Rexstrom is essentially a skill drain. Your opponent can't activate monster effects with attack higher than or equal to your life points. And then he also has the quick effect where you pay half your life points and all your opponent's monsters become your life points. Like their attack becomes your life points. And I do not believe that is an end of turn skill. Yeah, it is until the end of this turn, but it's kind of irrelevant because it's actually busted and they pretty much just lose the game. So that's it for the Dinomorphia fusions. And I explained Dolka and Lagia. So Psychic and Punisher, like you can make it's a 11, and you can make it with Rexstrom plus Moonlit Chill. It literally doesn't come up, and I would never do it. But like, if you're in a really bad situation and Rexstrom isn't winning you the game, you can make this guy, and he will probably win you the game. And the others are literally Cherry's targets. So one Elf, one Albertian, and one Kit Kalos. These are the 3 most important monsters for this format's big 3. Elf, if you Cherry's Elf, Sprite becomes significantly weaker. Cherry's Albertian, Mathmech has to make like really bizarre plays. And if you Cherry's Kit Kalos, Tialaman literally can't play the game. So these are like really good. Depending on what happens with the format, because we're seeing a lot of Rika get better, I might cut End Punisher and put in Sun Avalon Dryas or the Rika rank 4 Strela. And if like your local scene or if you're going to a big event, I would probably do that because this I have never ever used this card. It is just there for if I really really am in a bad spot. And even if I was, I'd have to draw my 2 of Moonlit Chill and haven't used them already. So if you want, you can cut this and play one more Cherry's target, depending on what you're worried about, whether that be Winda, whether it be Rika's. Winda's also not really a threat in this deck because you normal and then pass, and then like if you just had Frenzy, you just make Rexstrom anyways and then negate Winda. So pretty good. Alright, that being said, guys, oh wait, my side deck. That is important because you need to know what I'm siding. So the side deck I talked about a little bit already. 3 Rivalry. I would tend to side this out for Strike. 3 D Barrier. Really good against the Rogue matchups. This card always to me feels like it just stops Rogue decks in their place. Because it's that powerful. 2 Deck Dev, 1 Mischief of Gnomes. This would have been 2 more Mischief of Gnomes. I just didn't have them, so I just played 2 Deck Dev instead. I don't like Deck Dev as much as Mischief of Gnomes because obviously this is meant to stop Sprite, and Deck Dev actually helps 2 Element, so I would rather have Mischief of Gnomes. 3 and the band played on. Again, this is for Sprite. And then 3 Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries. This is for all our targets for it. This card came in so much against Sprite and T-Element. Like, Sprite and T-Element, just, this card is so good against them right now. As you can see, I literally have 9 side deck cards for Sprite. And then T-Element, I have, like 9, like, 6 to 9, like, D-Barrier, Cherries, and then Rivalries, like, kind of, because, like, they can't do, so Kikalos and like all of the dark ones are aqua, but Rhino Heart and the other fusion are warriors and water. So rivalry is like kind of good in there, but like kind of not as well. Because if they just go the dark, like they don't even if they just draw the nuts, they don't even need to Rhino Heart. It's just like if they do Rhino Heart, you know, you can like rivalry them. So that being said, guys, that is the deck that the Dinomorphia deck that I got first place with at this weekend's Yu-Gi-Oh! Locals. It was a really hard fought battle, but I was really surprised with how well this deck performed, and I really hope you enjoyed it. If you guys stuck around to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. I really encourage you to leave a like and subscribe for more content, as well as checking out the link in the description for my Twitch. And yeah, I'll see you all next time. Peace.